As Carlo stood at the Capelinha das Aparições, a profound stillness enveloped him, and tears streamed down his face, flooded by the overwhelming love and hope radiating from the circle of fellow pilgrims. Each flickering candle illuminated their shared prayers, weaving a tapestry of miracles that transcended his own doubts and fears. Just as the shepherd children once shared their divine encounters, Carlo felt an urgent call to awaken the spirit of faith within them all. But what would it take to harness that light and spread it beyond these sacred walls into a world hungry for hope? This was just the beginning of the plan. Before we get to the full story, take a moment to subscribe and comment where you're from. Spring in Portugal unfolded like a vibrant tapestry, weaving together lush greens and brilliant bursts of color. The air was thick with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, a fragrant promise of renewal. Amid this breathtaking beauty, Carlo Acutis, a 15-year-old boy from Milan, sat in deep contemplation, his heart yearning for the pilgrimage to Fatima. The stories of the shepherd children who once walked these lands resonated deeply with him, echoing through his spirit like sacred hymns. In the quiet of his room, surrounded by images of saints and the Virgin Mary, Carlo let his imagination soar. He envisioned the rolling hills that cradled Fatima, the very ground where heaven touched earth. Each story he'd heard echoed in his mind, the children's innocence, their unwavering faith, and the miraculous events that followed. It was not just about visiting a holy site, it was an opportunity to cultivate his own relationship with the divine. This journey was a calling, and he could feel it in every fiber of his being. Carlo had been raised in a family steeped in deep Catholic traditions. Each evening, they gathered around their small altar, the scent of incense filling the air as they offered prayers to God and intercessions to the Virgin Mary. In these moments, Carlo could see the strength of faith reflected in his parents' eyes. His mother would gently brush his hair back from his forehead, reminding him of the importance of love and devotion. His father, with a reassuring smile, would tell stories of his own pilgrimage experiences, fortifying Carlo's desire to embark on a spiritual quest of his own. As the days counted down to his departure, Carlo's anticipation grew. He felt a flutter of excitement whenever he imagined himself walking through the same pathways as the shepherd children. He pictured the dazzling white chapel at the Capelinha das Aparições, a place where the impossible became possible. His heart brimmed with a mixture of hope and determination, and he became increasingly aware that this pilgrimage was not merely about the destination, but about the transformation that awaited him along the way. Eagerly, Carlo prepared for his adventure. Each item he packed was imbued with significance. He selected his grandmother's cherished rosary, worn smooth by years of prayer, as a talisman of faith. A small notebook accompanied him, where he intended to document his thoughts and experiences, capturing the essence of his journey. Finally, he included a small statue of the Virgin Mary, a constant reminder of her maternal presence, guiding him toward love and compassion. On the morning of his departure, Carlo felt a surge of energy coursing through him. As his family gathered to send him off, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and love. His mother hugged him closely, warmth radiating from her embrace, whispering words of encouragement. His father, standing behind them, nodded with pride, reinforcing the significance of faith. They knew this pilgrimage was a step toward something monumental, a way for Carlo to deepen his connection with the divine. Boarding the bus, Carlo turned back for one last glimpse of his family. Their smiles lingered in his heart like a vivid photograph, fueling his resolve as the journey began. The bus rolled away, leaving behind the familiar comforts of home and thrusting him into the embrace of adventure. The journey unfolded like a story, revealing the rich tapestry of Portuguese towns as they made their way toward Fatima. Lisbon sparkled in the late morning sun, with cobblestone streets alive with locals selling vibrant wares and aromas wafting from small cafes. Carlo marveled at the bustling markets, where warm laughter mingled with the scents of pastries and coffee. In one cafe, a kind-hearted grandmother offered him a piece of homemade bread, her face lined with memories and wisdom. They shared brief stories, two souls connected by faith, her gentle words echoing the sentiments of his own heart. As they continued toward Fatima, Carlo interacted with fellow pilgrims, their shared goals igniting a sense of solidarity. Each conversation became a treasure trove of stories and experiences that enriched his understanding of faith. They spoke of challenges, miracles, and the divine moments that surfaced in their lives. Carlo listened intently, soaking in their insights, recognizing that his pilgrimage was a part of a larger community of believers. Night descended as they gathered to pray, their voices mingling under the vast expanse of stars. The collective energy surged as the group united in songs and prayers, the camaraderie thickening the atmosphere. Carlo felt the threads of connection weave tighter, transcending the physical realm. Each prayer illuminated their path, and in that sacred space he experienced a profound sense of belonging. As they pressed onward, Carlo's heart raced with anticipation. The sacred land of Fatima drew nearer with each passing mile, unfolding promises and revelations. What awaited him in this sacred place? Would he find the answers he sought, or perhaps something even more profound? The questions spiraled in his mind, creating a tapestry of expectation. With unwavering faith guiding him, he embraced the journey ahead. This was a pilgrimage that would not only lead him to a destination, but beckon him to venture deeper within himself. The divine awaited him, and the path toward truth and transformation lay just beyond the horizon. In the heart of Fatima, Carlo hoped to encounter moments steeped in faith that would alter his life forever. Would he be ready to receive the gift of the divine? With an open heart, he stepped into the unfolding pages of his pilgrimage, eagerly anticipating the miracles that lay ahead. The dawn broke over the rolling hills of Portugal, the sunlight spilling across the landscape like liquid gold. Carlo Acutis awoke with a sense of purpose, invigorated by the promise of the day ahead. He could feel the anticipation coursing through him as he remembered the conversations and experiences they had shared the previous day. The collective enthusiasm among the group filled him with warmth, igniting a fire of hope and faith that propelled him forward. As the group gathered for breakfast, the aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air, mingling with the sound of laughter and conversation. Carlo sat among his fellow pilgrims, soaking in the joy radiating from each person. There was an unspoken bond among them, a tether connecting their hearts as they shared their intentions for the pilgrimage. Each breakfast became an opportunity to learn from one another, to support each other in prayer, and to share the unique reasons that had drawn them to Fatima. After a hearty meal, the group stretched and prepared for the day's journey. Carlo pulled out his notebook, eager to document the unfolding experiences that awaited them. He scribbled down the promises he hoped to fulfill and the divine encounters he wished to seek. With a deep breath, he set his mind to embrace whatever revelations might come. Today would be a chance to deepen his faith and draw closer to God. Leaving the guest house, they set out on the path that snaked through the picturesque landscape. The soft crunch of gravel underfoot became a rhythmic backdrop, soothing and meditative. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of reverence, as if the very ground beneath them was sacred. As they walked, Carlo found himself enveloped by the beauty of the surrounding nature, the vibrant greens of the hills, the brilliant shades of wildflowers swaying in the gentle breeze, and the melodious birdsong weaving through the air. Each detail served as a reminder of the divine artistry that colored their world. The journey led them to a small chapel nestled in a secluded grove, a hidden gem overlooked by many. As they approached, the beauty of the chapel, a humble structure adorned with flowers, captured Carlo's heart. A peace settled upon him as he entered, surrendering to the tranquility of the sacred space. Inside, the flickering candles cast soft shadows on the walls, and the air was thick with the scent of incense. The group gathered in silence, breathing in the sanctity of the moment. Kneeling at the altar, Carlo closed his eyes and poured out his hopes and dreams. He prayed for clarity, purpose, and strength for his loved ones. As he sat in contemplation, a sense of belonging washed over him. He understood that his pilgrimage was more than just a physical journey. It was an invitation to deepen his relationship with God, an exploration of faith that he yearned to embrace fully. After spending time in prayer, the group gathered to share their reflections. Each member took turns expressing their thoughts, revealing stories that illuminated their unique paths to faith. Carlo listened intently, captivated by the depth of each person's journey. They spoke of doubts and struggles, experiences of grace, and the miracles that shaped their lives. Through their stories, he learned that faith was not a linear path, but a winding road filled with both shadows and light. As the sun climbed higher, they resumed their journey, energized by the exchange of personal testimonies. The landscape continued to unfold its beauty before them, revealing hidden gems along the way. A tranquil pond shimmering under the sun, wildflowers bursting with life, and sprawling vistas that took their breath away. Each moment felt surreal, amplifying the sense of connection to nature and the divine. With the sun reaching its zenith, the group paused for lunch in a small clearing. Carlo took this opportunity to enjoy fresh fruits and bread, savoring the flavors that matched the spirit of the experience. As they ate, he found himself seated next to Sophia, the young girl with whom he had formed a friendship. They exchanged dreams for the future, the challenges they faced, and their hopes for finding guidance in Fatima. Their connection deepened with every word, and Carlo felt grateful to walk this journey alongside someone who shared his aspirations. After lunch, they shared laughter and joy as they continued on their way. Carlo felt a surge of excitement coursing through him as they began to approach the sacred land of Fatima. The anticipation was palpable, clear in their conversations and in the energy that filled the air. With every mile they walked, Carlos could sense a growing urgency within himself, a calling to open his heart to the experience ahead. As the sun dipped in the sky, casting a golden hue across the landscape, the group finally caught sight of the basilica in the distance. Towering above, it stood as a beacon of faith, its elegant structure emanating an aura of divinity. Carlo's heart raced. Here it was, the culmination of their journey, the land where heaven met earth. Unable to contain himself, he quickened his pace, eager to cross the threshold into the sacred ground of Fatima. The closer he drew, the more he felt the sacredness saturating the air, an electric presence that seemed to vibrate with promise and hope. As they entered the main square, Carlo stood in awe, joining in the collective gasp from his fellow pilgrims. The square was alive with people from all walks of life, each person drawn to this holy site for their own reasons. Some knelt in prayer, others embraced serenity, while many shared stories with companions. Carlo felt a profound shift within him as he observed the beauty of unity and diversity, the rich tapestry of countless souls converging here, seeking solace, guidance, and miraculous encounters. With newfound determination, Carlo set out toward the Capelinha das Aparições, where the Virgin Mary had once appeared to the shepherd children. The bubbling energy of excitement and reverence propelled him forward. Surrounded by others who shared his devotion, Carlo approached the chapel, where generations of hearts had raised prayers. In that moment, he realized that this pilgrimage was as much about his individual journey as it was about the collective experience of faith. Standing at the foot of the Capelinha, Carlo knew he was on the brink of a profound encounter with the divine. Each step he took felt like a witness to a miracle, a testament to the unwavering faith that guided his journey. Would this pilgrimage fulfill the yearnings of his heart? Would it unlock the spiritual treasures waiting to be uncovered? With unwavering trust, Carlo stepped into the sacred space, ready to embrace whatever blessings the divine had in store for him. As Carlo stepped into the Capelinha das Aparições, he felt an ineffable stillness envelop him. The bustling noise of the square faded to a soft murmur, replaced by an intimate quiet that allowed him to hear his own heartbeat. A sense of sacredness filled the space, pulsating softly like the glow of the candles lining the chapel. Each flickering flame represented a prayer, a heart's plea, echoing the hopes of countless pilgrims who had come before him. Kneeling before the altar, Carlo closed his eyes, drawing in a deep breath of the incense-laden air. The captivating scent made him feel anchored to this moment, this miracle of faith. He allowed his thoughts to drift to the shepherd children, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta, whose pure faith and willingness to share their experiences had inspired generations. Their legacy felt alive in this chapel, echoing through time, reminding him of the power of belief and trust in the divine. In this intimate encounter with the sacred, Carlo began to open his heart. He whispered his hopes to the Virgin Mary, sharing his dreams for the future, his fears for the present, and his desire to remain faithful and hopeful in a world often overshadowed by despair. Tears formed in his eyes as he contemplated the impact of faith. He understood that seeking divine connection was a journey filled with both peaks of joy and troughs of uncertainty. Time slipped away as Carlo dissolved into prayer. It was a beautiful surrender. He felt a soft light wash over him, and an overwhelming peace settled in his heart, confirming his belief that he was being heard. He thought of his family, his friends, and the trials they faced. He prayed that they would find strength in their own hardships and that he could be a source of light for them. After a while, he opened his eyes and noticed the church was beginning to fill with pilgrims. He felt compelled to share what he had experienced in his moments of prayer. Rising, he approached a small group of young people gathered near the altar, their expressions a mixture of reverence and curiosity. "I just prayed," he said softly, "and I felt so much calm and peace." One of the young women smiled, her eyes brightening. "Really? I've been searching for peace too. It's been hard lately." Encouraged by her openness, Carlo shared his hopes, his deep desire to grow in faith and support his family and friends. These simple words seemed to resonate with them, sparking a wave of sharing that spread through the group. They spoke of their struggles and victories, of moments when faith carried them through the darkest nights. Carlo listened intently, fascinated by the tapestry of experiences woven amongst them. Inspired by their honesty, he shared the story of the lives transformed through faith, recalling how even in moments of trial, he had witnessed miracles. The group exchanged stories of healing, of connections forged in prayer, and how the pilgrimage had ignited a fire in their hearts. Each person's story wove a thread that tied them together, a reminder that their journeys were interconnected by love, faith, and shared human experience. When the group dispersed, Carlo felt a renewed sense of purpose. He stepped outside to rejoin the larger gathering in the square, feeling invigorated by the bonds he had formed. The square buzzed with activity. Pilgrims from all over the world mingled together, sharing refreshments, laughter, and prayers. The sun hung low in the sky as shades of pink and orange stretched across the horizon, setting the stage for a memorable evening. Carlo joined a few of his fellow pilgrims in sharing a meal, savoring the flavors of bread, cheese, and local fruits. They laughed, exchanged stories, and let their hearts be merry, each bite fueling their spirits further. It was a celebration of camaraderie, a demonstration of unity bound by the same divine quest. As evening descended, the atmosphere transformed. The basilica and chapel glowed softly under the twinkling stars, lanterns swaying gently in the evening breeze. Carlo felt a ripple of excitement, sensing that a special event awaited them, the candlelight procession. The anticipation in the air was contagious, and he could barely contain his eagerness to participate. Gathering near the square, pilgrims picked up candles as they prepared for the procession. The luminous flames flickered joyfully, illuminating the faces of those gathered. Carlo felt a deep sense of commitment, each candle representing a prayer, each flicker an intention sent forth into the universe. As they began to move, a hush fell over the crowd. The soft sound of their footsteps echoed in harmony with the prayers that rose together, creating a serene symphony of devotion. They walked in unison, a river of light flowing through the square, candles reflecting the faith of countless souls. Carlo caught bits of melody forming from the group as they sang hymns that transcended barriers of language, connecting them through a shared devotion. The atmosphere was electrifying, a palpable tapestry of love, woven together, each note lifting their spirits higher. As they approached the Capelinha once more, Carlo felt the spirit of the place resonate within him. He raised his candle high, the flame dancing in the night breeze, illuminating not just the path ahead, but also the depths of his heart. In that moment, he understood that this pilgrimage was an enduring commitment to nurture the flame of faith within himself and to inspire that same light in others. Once again, at the foot of the Capelinha, Carlo knelt among the gathered pilgrims, hearts united in prayer. Tears streamed down his face, not from sorrow, but from the overwhelming joy of connection, both with the divine and with those around him. He was a thread in a vast tapestry of believers, all seeking solace, grace, and understanding, yearning for a glimpse of the divine. In prayer, Carlo expressed gratitude for the shared experiences, the lessons learned, and the encouragement received. The power of the collective moment ignited a profound desire within him to carry this spirit of faith beyond the borders of Fatima, to share it with the world he returned to, and to inspire others as he had been inspired. As he stood in the flickering glow of candlelight, illuminated by both faith and hope, Carlo realized that his pilgrimage was a continuation of a legacy rooted in belief. The love and compassion he felt would resonate long after he left Fatima, blessing his journey ahead and guiding him in moments of doubt. Embracing the miracle of faith, he lit the way for those who would come after him, ready to share the light with the world. As the candles flickered like stars in the night sky, Carlo knelt among a sea of fellow pilgrims in the shadow of the Capelinha. The air was thick with the scent of burning wax and the lingering aroma of incense, creating an atmosphere of deep reverence. Each face around him glowed with shared commitment, illuminated by the soft light of their candles, symbols of their prayers, hopes, and faith. Carlo's heart swelled with emotion. He could feel the strength of their unified prayers seep into his veins, filling him with a sense of purpose. These were not merely individuals, they were part of a living tapestry of faith, woven together in search of divine connection. He closed his eyes, inhaled deeply, and let the moment wash over him. In his prayer, he spoke not only for himself, but for everyone gathered at that sacred site. He prayed for healing, for the sick, the lonely, and those burdened by despair. Each name, each situation etched itself into his mind as he prayed, allowing his heart to resonate with the weight of the world around him. Tears brimmed in his eyes as he felt the power of each whispered prayer lifted to the heavens. A chorus of longing, seeking divine intervention. As the prayers rose higher, something deep within Carlo began to awaken. The weight of his own uncertainties transformed into a burgeoning light. He felt a call, a gentle but firm nudge to act. This was a defining moment. In this immense gathering of faith, he sensed that he was being called not only to receive the blessings, but to also share them with others. After a time of silent prayer, he opened his eyes and observed the melting candles, illuminating the faces of those around him. Image after image, he saw the hope reflected in their expressions. From the elderly who wore their experiences like badges of honor, to young children clenching their parents' hands, each face represented a unique story, shaped by faith. He knew that their collective hope was powerful enough to inspire others well beyond this sacred gathering. Feeling a spark of inspiration, Carlo turned to those around him. There was a mix of friends and new faces he had met on this journey, and he felt compelled to share what was blossoming within him. "Let's gather in small circles," he suggested, his voice steady, despite the emotional intensity of the moment. Let's share our hopes and prayers with one another and encourage each other. We're all here seeking solace. Why not strengthen our bonds? A ripple of agreement moved through the group. They gathered in smaller circles, voices mingling in the vibrant air, sharing their stories and intentions. Carlo listened intently, absorbing every word, and felt an overwhelming urge to uplift each individual's spirit. He reminded them of the strength they possessed, the light that could shine brightly just by believing in their power. Each story shared, every word of support exchanged, sowed the seeds of hope and inspiration among them. And then he shared his own journey, small but impactful moments that had defined his faith thus far. He spoke of the challenges he faced, the doubts that clouded his mind on occasion, and how coming to Fatima had rekindled his fire. With every testimony provided, he witnessed the warmth of connection grow between them, transforming the intimate gathering into a collective force of light. Remember, he said passionately, we are all threads in this tapestry of faith. Just as the Virgin Mary brought hope to the shepherd children, we have the power to bring hope to one another. Let us shine our lights brightly, both here and when we return home. Let our faith be a guiding beacon for those who struggle to see. His words ignited something deep within each person, creating a louder chorus of affirmations and shared prayers. They started to strategize ways they could extend the love and encouragement they found in Fatima to their own communities, brainstorming initiatives they could undertake, from support groups to fundraisers for charity, all rooted in the experiences they would carry with them. As they talked, Carlo felt an overwhelming sense of joy swell in his heart. This was what he had come to experience, the realization that faith wasn't just a personal journey, it was a shared mission that empowered each individual to spread light in an often dark world. Carlo let the moment sink in, watching the familiar glow of candlelight now paired with the flicker of hope in their conversations. Everyone shared a collective understanding. Each was there to uplift his or her spirit and the spirits of all whose paths they would cross. He felt truly blessed to be part of such a profound moment of connection and collaboration. As the night core advanced, the procession began to wind down. The crowd slowly made their way back from the Capelinha, but the shared experience created a warm current of unity that wouldn't soon dissipate. Carlo felt invigorated, the spirit of the pilgrimage intensifying within him. He now carried a responsibility, not a burden, but an honor, to pass on the faith and light he had received from this experience. Stepping outside under the blanket of stars, Carlo stood in awe at the beauty of it all. The sky twinkled above, and the warmth of the candles illuminated the faces of his fellow pilgrims as laughter and shared stories filled the air. At that moment, Carlo knew this was just the beginning. The lessons learned at Fatima would echo through his life, guiding him as he sought to inspire others. With his heart full of love and mission, ready to link his journey to others, the pilgrimage would be a catalyst for transformation, not just for himself, but for those whose lives would be touched by his new resolve to shine brightly. Embracing the miracle of faith, he lit the way for those who would come after him, ready to share the light with the world, to become a beacon of hope and inspiration for all he encountered. The flame ignited in Fatima would never extinguish. It was destined to illuminate the hearts of many. The next morning, Carlo awoke to the soft light filtering through his window, casting gentle shadows across the room. The events of the previous night flooded back into his memory, filling him with warmth and purpose. He took a deep breath, absorbing the peace that lingered in the air, a reminder of the shared connection forged during the candlelight procession. After breakfast, he joined his fellow pilgrims in the main square for a final gathering before their departure from Fatima. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Many had come to reflect on their experiences, ready to share the miracles they had witnessed during their time at this sacred site. Carlo felt an electric thrill at the thought of all the stories he had yet to hear. As they settled in for the morning session, the familiar faces of his pilgrim friends greeted him. Elena smiled brightly at him from across the circle, her spirit buoyant after the prayers of the night before. She was bursting to share her experience, and Carlo could see that her heart was overflowing with gratitude. "Can I share my story first?" she asked, her voice steady but filled with emotion. The group nodded encouragingly, eager to hear what she had to say. "Last night was incredible. I felt this warmth wash over me when we prayed together. I realized that I've been carrying the weight of my worries alone for far too long. In that moment, I understood that in faith there is both strength and community," she began, her eyes sparkling. Carlo nodded in agreement, feeling his heart swell with pride for the fellow pilgrim he had come to respect. As she spoke, he reflected on how each voice was another thread woven into the fabric of their shared experience. It was this kind of mutual encouragement that made it clear their individual stories were all interconnected. "I prayed for my mother's healing," Elena continued, "and you know what? When I returned to my hotel room last night, I received a text from my father. He said that her condition had improved overnight and the doctors were optimistic. I believe it was your prayers and the power of our collective faith that brought about this miracle." Applause erupted from the group, filling the square with joyful energy. Carlo felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. This was the beauty of faith, how it not only connected individuals, but also propelled them to inspire one another, igniting hope in the hearts of others. Next, a man named Antonio, a bit older than the rest, shared his testimony. He spoke of the struggles he faced with loneliness and despair after losing his wife. His voice grew heavier, but as he spoke, something shifted in him. "When I prayed last night, surrounded by all of you, I realized I didn't have to carry my grief in isolation. We're all here for each other," he explained, his voice thick with emotion. Carlo felt a profound sense of connection in the vulnerabilities shared. Antonio went on to express how he now felt more equipped to seek solace and support from others, including the friends he made during this pilgrimage. As the group listened to his experience, Carlo recognized that this understanding of shared burdens was the light that Fatima had ignited in him, and it was contagious. One by one, they began to share their own stories, miracles they had witnessed or moments of encouragement they had received. There was laughter intertwined with tears, a genuine tapestry of shared vulnerability and healing. Each story unfolded a page in the greater narrative of faith, and Carlo felt his heart swell with pride. "Just like the shepherd children," he said as he stood to speak, "who dared to share their encounters with the divine, we too must carry this light forward. Fatima isn't just a destination, it's a call to action. Let us take the miracles we've received here and spread this hope to others. We can become beacons of light in a world in desperate need of love and faith." The gathering erupted in applause. Empowered by Carlo's words, many voiced their commitment to start initiatives within their own communities, ways to give back, to share the faith they'd strengthen in the sacred space of Fatima. Ideas flowed freely, support groups, community prayers, and outreach programs designed to uplift those struggling within their neighborhoods. In that moment, Carlo felt overwhelming pride swell within him. This pilgrimage wasn't just a personal journey to deepen his faith. It was a catalyst for transformation, a call to mobilize and inspire others to rise together, united in purpose. As the session wrapped up and pilgrims began to prepare to depart, Carlo made a point to connect with each of his new friends. He embraced Elena warmly, telling her how proud he was of her strength. He promised Antonio and others that they would support each other in their efforts to spread hope and love. The sense of fellowship was palpable, and Carlo felt a conviction burn within him. As the morning sunlight streamed over the hills of Fatima, illuminating the Capelinha, Carlo understood that he was embarking on a new chapter marked by renewal and commitment. The mission would extend beyond these sacred grounds. It would ripple outward, touching the lives of those he encountered. When the time came to leave, Carlo glanced back at the Capelinha one last time, etching the image into his heart. He vowed to carry the lessons of this pilgrimage with him as he stepped back into the world, ready to guide others and illuminated by the grace and compassion found within this vibrant community of faith. It was not just the end of a journey, but the beginning of a new adventure, one where he would actively seek to spread the light of hope and love. With a full heart and renewed purpose, Carlo stepped forward into his life, ready to embrace the miracles awaiting him in the world beyond. As the bus rolled away from Fatima, Carlo gazed out of the window, watching the landscape transform into a blur of colors and shapes. The memories of the pilgrimage filled his mind like vibrant brushstrokes on a canvas. Each moment he experienced, the laughter, the shared prayers, the sense of belonging etched themselves deeply in his heart. He felt a well of gratitude rise within him, mingling with a newfound determination. Reaching Milan, Carlo stepped off the bus with a sense of purpose. His eyes sparkled brightly as he navigated the familiar streets, but everything felt different now. The lessons learned in Fatima transformed the ordinary into something sacred. The hustle and bustle of city life was infused with new meaning. Each face he passed seemed to carry a story, a hidden struggle or a glimmer of hope. His family welcomed him back with open arms. Eager to share, he recounted the beautiful moments he had witnessed, emphasizing how the collective faith of the pilgrims had sparked a fire within him. He recounted Elena's powerful testimony about the miraculous improvement in her mother's health, and Antonio's courage to share his vulnerability with the group. His parents listened intently, their expressions of pride evident as Carlo spoke with passion about his desire to create a community of love and support. "Together, we can carry the lessons of Fatima back to our community," he declared. "I want to organize gatherings where people can come together, share their struggles, and support each other, just like we did." His voice trembled slightly with excitement as he laid out his vision. His family, buoyed by his enthusiasm, immediately stepped up to help. They offered to assist him in promoting the gatherings and even suggested reaching out to local churches and community centers for venues. Carlo felt invigorated as they discussed plans, envisioning what could blossom from this commitment to spread faith in action. Over the next few weeks, Carlo poured his heart into organizing the first community gathering. He designed flyers, spread the word through social media, and spoke with local leaders to encourage participation. Each conversation filled him with encouragement. People were excited by the idea of coming together to share faith and hope. When the day of the first gathering finally arrived, Carlo's heart raced with anticipation. Held in a cozy community center, the space was adorned with warm lighting and inviting decorations. Tables were set with candles, flowers, and refreshments, creating an atmosphere of warmth. As guests began to arrive, Carlo watched with a mix of joy and nervousness. Friends, family, and new faces filled the room, each person representing a unique story and journey. Carlo welcomed everyone, his heart swelling with gratitude as he recognized the beauty of this gathering, how it mirrored the unity he had felt in Fatima. The moment they formed a circle, joining hands, a wave of energy surged through the group, and he could sense the collective spirit of faith rising around them. "Thank you for being here," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "This gathering is a reflection of the love and hope we found together in Fatima. Here, we will celebrate our experiences, support each other, and share our hearts." As he spoke, he encouraged participants to share their stories and intentions. One by one, the room filled with voices, stories of struggle, triumph, and the power of prayer. Carlo listened intently, absorbing the rich tapestry of experiences and emotions that unfolded around him. Elena spoke of her mother's recovery and the newfound hope that had blossomed within their family. A young man shared how he struggled with loneliness and found solace in faith, while a mother recounted how her children had begun to pray together, strengthening their family bond. Each shared experience wove deeper connections, creating a sense of togetherness that was palpable. At the end of the gathering, they collectively raised their candles, illuminating the room with flickering light. It was a reminder that, like the individual candles, each person contributed to a greater purpose. Carlo felt a rush of joy as everyone joined hands for a final prayer, lifting their intentions and hopes together. Afterward, the warm conversations continued, radiant with laughter and encouragement, reigniting the sense of community that had first inspired Carlo. It was an evening of transformation, an affirmation that they could indeed be beacons of light in the world. As the night drew to a close, guests began to leave, and Carlo could see the impact of their gathering reflected in their faces. They were hopeful, strengthened by the connection forged in that shared space. Carlo stood at the door, gratefully bidding farewell to each person, feeling invigorated by the shared experience. He knew this was only the beginning. The seeds planted that night would blossom into a vibrant community of faith, love, and support, a legacy of hope that would carry on, reaching far and wide beyond their initial gathering. With a heart brimming with gratitude and determination, Carlo felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was ready to continue the journey instilled within him during the pilgrimage to Fatima, a journey of spreading light and inspiring others, ensuring that the miracles he discovered would ripple outward, creating lasting change in the world. What did you think of this story? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Click the video on the left to hear another story.